Welcome to Begin the Speech. I'm Fred Hunt. That's Ted Coley. Hey, Ted Coley.
Hey, Fred. How you doing?
What? We're doing a little bit. We're just starting. Since the last time we saw you 1 month ago, I have grown this bitchin' ass beard. Makes me look like Santa Claus, right? Part of the reason we have put off Beacon of Speech for 1 month is I cannot hear. Legally, I cannot hear. Ted has known for years and years I cannot hear. So on air, I'm going to show you I got hearing aids, Ted Coley. So here's the magic battery, and they said push the battery in. They said it only lasts for 7 days. So every time you're not using the hearing aids, open the battery.
Are those
up.
batteries rechargeable?
Nope. 7 days and in the garbage.
Wow. That
Yeah.
sounds like it's going to be expensive.
Yeah, well, it's not as expensive as I thought it was, but at least I really can hear, because I really shouldn't complain. Now, I'm doing this on air, so I'm probably going to be nervous about it, but I'm going to put this in here, stick it in the ear. Go ahead and grab that cord while I'm putting this in. So I really can hear a lot better. So I shouldn't say anything bad. Like, the company I got the hearing aids from, they're really nice. And see, it's already in, Ted. Right? Same thing with this one. Right is red. Grab the hearing aid. We're going to put this in here. And so Ted needs glasses, and now I need hearing aids. And so I don't have to yell at all the time, but for some reason I yell all the time anyhow. Like, it hasn't lowered my voice. Now, how fast was that? It took 1 minute, right? I scratch my head, I can hear the hearing aids are working. If I listen to music, music doesn't come from over there, over there, over there. Music goes into my head. So if I hear music, it confuses me. But because I have my faculties, I'm like, who cares? It's music, right? I can hear it in the middle of my head instead of where it comes from. Does that make sense?
So you don't know where a noise is coming from then?
So, well, like you, I can see that it's coming from you. But let's say I'm not paying attention. Say I'm reading and I hear music. I have no idea where it's coming from. I can't tell if it's over there or over there. But they work great. There's a little bit of a tinny echo, but I get used to it. And as you can see, it didn't do anything to my voice. Now, if you look at me, you can't tell I have hearing aids, right? Because I have a mess of a hair and mess of a beard. So that is my new life, wearing the hearing aids. Now, I got the cheaper hearing aids, so everything's amplified. If there's a storm, the wind is amplified, the sound of the ocean is amplified, everything is amplified. Supposedly, the high-end hearing aids cancel background noise out. Where you work, you hear the industrial noise. Supposedly it clears that out and you can hear voices clear. The thing is that I hear higher pitches better, but you have a low pitch voice. So when we do Beacon of Speech, it doesn't matter if I have them in or not, because I can hear you and you are right here, like literally touching me. So, but I wanted to show you, that's why we haven't done it in a month, and I hope that I get used to it, but I think I'm going to be stuck with them for the rest of my life. So... And whose fault is it? It's my fault. Too much loud music. Right? We were joking around because before we came on air, and I said, well, you were asking about, what caused the hearing loss. And I said, too much loud music. And, like say I was doing heroin my whole life. I don't do drugs, okay? But if I did heroin my whole life and then I was 50 and they're like, well, your liver's shot from all the intravenous drug use, you got hep C, I'd be like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't have done all that heroin. Well, same thing with the hearing aids. Maybe I shouldn't listen to loud music for all those years. So I have no one else to blame. But just to be clear, I do not use heroin. Never have, never will. I shouldn't say never will. Life is spiraling
who
down.
Who knows what tomorrow will.
Yeah, no, who knows what tomorrow brings. Tomorrow brought me hearing aids this month. It took me a little while to get used to them. Been working my butt off at work. At one point, you had no days off in 2 weeks. I had 1 day off in 3 weeks. Between the hearing aids, you working, me working, we haven't been able to do anything. Would you say that's fair?
Mm-hmm. Well, when was the? I remember the last thing we did was the Putin show.
The Putin show.
How long ago was that?
I believe that was August 13th because it was right before my birthday. And the last full show, I believe, was the 4th. And then a week later, we did the Putin show. And then that was but we didn't do a whole show. We broke it up into quarters, remember? So, but I'm going to tell you right now, I love Beacon of Speech. I know it drives Ted crazy, and I ruin everything that he likes on Beacon of Speech. So I always feel terrible. Okay, so for the second time in the history of Beacon of Speech, besides the gimmick of the hearing aids, I have a present for Ted Coley, and he has no idea what he's getting. Now, Ted Coley, maybe we should just do Beacon of Speech and give Ted Coley presents all the time. See,
Okay.
you would like that version. We went to Hot Topic. Now, this is funny, because if you know what Hot Topic is, you would go there and you'd be like, what in the hell did you get for Ted Coley? Do you know what Hot Topic is, Ted?
I don't know.
Hot Topic is where 13-year-old girls go and shop and get earrings, nose piercings, and things that are popular in Korea. They have a lot of gothic stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at me like, what the hell did you get?
Yeah.
There is nothing there for a 50-year-old man.
I thought you were going to say there is nothing in here.
There is nothing there for a 50-year-old man. Okay? So with that being said, okay, I present Ted Coley, my gift from Fred Hunt to Ted Coley for sticking out Beacon of Speech.
Now, is this from Hot Topic?
This is from Hot Topic. It really is from Hot Topic. And you have to pull it out on
It's
there.
a shirt.
Yeah, here, I'll take the bag back. In case it's the wrong size, in case you have to return it.
Awesome. Oh, that's awesome.
Now you gotta hold it up to the camera. It's the Who. When I saw that shirt, I'm like, how many 13-year-olds are wearing that?
That's awesome. Thank you.
I was stunned to see that at Hot Topic. Now, my son, he has a Metallica shirt from Hot Topic. But Metallica is, would you say Metallica, they were most popular in 91? Would you say that?
I really don't know, believe it or not, a lot about Metallica. But, yeah, I would say, late 80s,
Yeah.
early 90s.
So when I look at that shirt, you know what I think? I think 1974, because that's Keith Moon,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
That's Entwistle, that's Keith Moon. So in my head, that's 74 to 77,
Yeah.
right? I'm like, what kids today are wearing Who t-shirts?
That's really great.
So if it's one size too big, the thing is with Hot Topic gear, because we shop there all the time, once you wash it, it shrinks. So we were going to get you a medium, but we didn't want it to shrink.
No, I don't. I think this is probably going to be a perfect size.
So, but that is my present as a thanks for doing Beacon of Speech with me. And like I said, I saw that. I'm like, Ted Coley has to have this. And Ted Coley would never walk in the store if it was in the mall. Like, you would never.
No.
If I told you, I said, Ted, at Great Northern Mall, there's a Who t-shirt somewhere. Go and find it. Ted would be in there for a year, and he would not find it.
Yeah, I really like that.
He'd be like, did Fred hide it in the rafters? He'd be climbing up ladders and stuff. You're like, I think he's tricking me. So, but that's all yours. That's, even though it's a radio bit, that's yours to keep. So I just wanted to make sure I thanked you.
Yeah, well, thank you.
So with that being said, let's ruin football for Ted Coley today. At Beacon of Speech, we talk about things that other people don't like talking about or are uncomfortable talking about or just don't care about. But everybody in America, would you say, loves football?
Yeah, almost everybody.
Almost everybody. And even though we bash on the NFL all the time, when I say we, I mean me, bash on the NFL all the time, would you say it's fair that Fred still watches football all the time?
Yeah.
Me and my wife were talking about going to the high school football game Friday. On Saturday, I watched college football. Earlier today, I was on Cleveland.com looking to see who the Browns cut. I watched that fourth exhibition game, which was terrible. It was awful. Ted, it was garbage. It looked like Division III football at the end of the Browns game because it's all the guys who are going to get cut. Right? They won't even. They said that every starter on the offensive side and defensive side for the Browns were rested for the last preseason game. They only played backups. Not their starting quarterback, not just their starting quarterback, not just their starting running back, not just their starting wide receiver. Every single starter on offense and defense got to sit out the last game. To me, that's. Would you ever play a game and play none of your starters? Like, no matter what sport you're in. You see what I'm saying? Hockey, soccer, basketball. You at least put your. They have summer league in the NBA. Well, that doesn't count. That's like. But when the exhibition games come, they still play the guard. You know what I mean? They might not play the stars, but so to me it was amazing. But even though I bitch about football, I was watching it on all levels, and I made a lot of notes. So let's go over the notes of football, and you can join in or not join in. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
First one is high school football. Note 1. See, I just lost 5 pounds, Ted. I just pulled the post-it note from the wall. It's an inside joke. In North Ridgeville, the greatest player ever to play in North Ridgeville history, arguably, in football. His name is Demario McCall. When he was a junior in high school, he ran for, I think, 2,000 yards. Not 1,000 yards, 2,000 yards as a junior, right?
And then what do they normally play, about 10 games?
Yeah, like 10 games. So that's literally 200 yards a game. That's like O.J. Simpson in 1973, right? So that kid, whatever happened to that kid, Ted Coley?
I don't know.
As soon as his junior year ended, he goes, well, Ohio State said, come play for us. And he said, okay. And then his senior year, what happened, Ted Coley?
I don't know.
They said he had nagging injuries, and he did not play but a few games and ran for a couple hundred yards, right? He was protecting his scholarship to Ohio State. He did not care about playing for North Ridgeville. Now, his parents would say, well, I would have we're resting him so he can get a college education. I'm like, that's bullcrap. They're resting him so he can play in the NFL. You see what I'm getting at? So his freshman year at Ohio State, he didn't play because he was injured. Injured again, right? And then his sophomore year, he was injured, but he's still on scholarship. So all of a sudden, now we're up to his junior or senior year, and this was going to be his breakout year. He's going to have a great year, and then he's going to go to the NFL because he's an elite talent. But he's still only had 1 year where he's rushed over, I believe, 500 yards, and that was his O.J. Simpson year, his junior year in high school. So we started in high school. We're going to roll into college. He plays for the Ohio State Buckeyes. And I turned on the Ohio State game on Saturday and watched it. Did you watch the Ohio State game?
No.
Do you have any interest in watching Ohio State football at your age?
No.
If it was on, would you watch it, or would you you're just doing stuff and it's on in the background?
Yeah, it's just on in the background.
I actually watched it, and I'm like, where's Demario McCall? And I'm like squinting, and their rusher from last year ran for 100 yards, and then their transfer rushed for 100 yards, and they beat the Florida Atlantic Owls, right? Now we're going to talk more about the Florida Atlantic Owls, but we're going to stop with Demario McCall. They played a team which was a cream puff, right? And he had 2 rushes and 1 catch for, I believe, 15 yards against a cupcake. So, my prediction. You watching? We're doing predictions. Where's my prediction sheet? I'll write it down now. Demario McCall. And I'm going to put this for 2 years from now. Will sue someone that he's not a starter in the NFL. I don't know if he's going to sue his agent, if he's going to sue Ohio State, but he will sue someone. And do you remember who was the guy who was a freshman at Ohio State and he sued to go in the NFL early? If we didn't have the computer, I would look it up.
Was that running back?
Yeah.
The one who got into like a lot of trouble?
Yeah.
I can't think of his
I'm
name.
drawing a blank. But the point is, when he left Ohio State, he sued Ohio
This was
State.
like about 15 years ago.
He sued Ohio State because they kept him from going to the NFL. He sued the NFL. He sued agent. He sued literally everybody because all he ever wanted to do was play in the NFL. And they made him wait 3 years. You see what I'm saying? So my prediction, and I'm going to write it down, in 2 years, Demario McCall. Now, this is only my prediction because you're not familiar with him.
He was like the running back when they played
in the national championship.
Right.
Yep.
Because who was that? What was that, Miami?
Yes.
Yeah, because Miami had, what was it, Willis McGahee?
Yep.
And I can think of Ohio State's quarterback, wasn't it Craig Krenzel?
Yeah, I believe it was.
But I can't think of the running back.
But they won the national championship and they squeaked out. You remember when Jim Tressel said the biggest play in football is the punt because it's all about field position, and you're like, how in the world did these guys win all those games?
Mm-hmm.
So my prediction is Demario McCall will sue somebody within 2 years that he is not a starting running back in the NFL, because in my mind, it has always been about getting somewhere, not the journey. You know what I mean? How do I get my kid into the NFL? Not, hey, my kid's going to play NFL football. Now, maybe I'm 100% wrong. The only reason I bring this up is because I brought it up on the Beacon of Speech blog multiple times. He lives like a couple of blocks away from me. And I'm not rooting against the kid. I'm just saying there's red flags everywhere. How can you go from running 2,000 yards in a season to no running at all? You know what I mean? You got a scholarship to a Division I school. You know, probably one of the top 5 programs in the nation. And somehow you're still on the team and racking up 7 yards a game. So something is going on. So I want to put that down on paper because we're doing predictions again. Now, I'm going to involve you more in the conversation, Ted. Ohio State versus Florida Atlantic Owls. Yesterday, it was on TV. It was on ABC TV. Why in the world was Ohio State versus Florida Atlantic on TV, Ted Coley? And this is a trick question. Usually, and we'll do a backstory, say Ohio State plays Toledo. You never see it on TV because it's not a big game, right? Not in football. You see Ohio State, Penn State, or Ohio State, Alabama. You never see Ohio State versus Florida Atlantic. Why was it on TV?
I don't know.
I will tell you, there's 2 reasons. Number 1, they have a brand new coach. So everybody wanted to see Ohio State's new coach, Ryan Day. Right? How's Ryan Day doing his first game? Before I said the words Florida Atlantic Owls, had you ever heard of Florida Atlantic?
No.
No. You've heard of Florida, Florida State, Florida State. There's like 6 schools down there. What are the other good football teams? Miami and Florida. What's another good? The Central Florida is a good middle road team. What's another Florida football team? The point is, you never think of Florida Atlantic. So I'm like, why in the world is this game on? This makes no sense whatsoever to me. And they're running the players out, and they're a bunch of players I never heard of. And they're like, none of them are going to win the Heisman, right? And then at the end of the line, guess who runs out of the Florida Atlantic? And this you'll never guess in a million years. The coach of the Florida Atlantic Owls runs out behind his players, right? Do you know the coach of Florida Atlantic? The team you've never heard of 5 minutes ago.
Who is their coach?
Who's their coach?
I don't know.
Lane Kiffin of the Raiders.
The Oakland Raiders?
The Oakland Raiders. Remember they hired Lane Kiffin and he was 32 years old? And Lane Kiffin basically ran the Raiders into the ground, and then Al Davis fired Lane Kiffin at 32. I'm sorry, not at 32, at 34, and said, you suck so bad, I'm not going to pay you your remaining years on the contract. Lane Kiffin said, I'll see you in hell, Al Davis. I will get my money. And then Al Davis died, right? Do you remember this now?
Not really.
Okay, well, so Al Davis died, and Mark Davis says,
I knew that Al Davis died.
then Mark Davis says, we ain't going to pay you, Lane Kiffin. You are a terrible coach. He goes, it doesn't matter if I'm a terrible coach. I have a contract. Yeah. You can eat crap and die. And he goes, part of the reason my dad, Al Davis, died is because you drove him to the grave being a bad coach. Now he is coaching Florida Atlantic. How do you go from coaching the Raiders at 32 or 34, which means literally you're a genius, a football genius, down to Florida Atlantic? Okay, so that is, I'm convinced that's why the game was on TV. Because Lane Kiffin, you would think even if you got fired by the Raiders, you would coach at a like a team you had heard of, like Rutgers, right? So I keep talking and yapping. Ted, how do you think Florida Atlantic did against Ohio State?
They got beat?
They got bulldozed into the dirt. They were down 28-0 at the end of the first quarter. Ryan Day yanked out all his starters, right? They started, but they yanked them all out, right? And then they put in their second string. And then Florida Atlantic scored a field goal. And then halftime came and they put in their third stringers, right? Put in their third stringers. Florida Atlantic had negative 25 yards of offense, right? And they were just terrible. Lane Kiffin yelled at them at halftime. He says, you guys need to play better. They ended up losing 45-21. Oh. Okay? So basically, Florida Atlantic, okay, they were able, let me do the math real quick. 28, 45 is 14. Florida Atlantic was able to beat the Ohio State third and fourth stringers 18-17, right? Mm-hmm. So that is how far down the food chain Florida Atlantic is. But I thought you knew who Lane Kiffin was. That's why I thought it was hysterical. See, it's not as funny when you don't know who Lane Kiffin is. You want
I think I've heard his name.
Okay. But. Well, then you just messed up my one skit. Thanks, Ted Cole. Give me all my. That's my shirt. That's my shirt. I always love the Who. No, I'm just teasing. NFL. So I wanted to talk about Ohio State, and that went over like a lead balloon. So you can see my timing's off after a month. The Browns, they kept all their stars. You know, they got last year they were 7-8-1, but they won a bunch of games. Vegas says that they're going to be better. Everybody's saying they're going to the playoffs. Would you say a lot of people are optimistic about the Browns this year?
Yeah, definitely.
Everybody's excited, and they rested all their starters. Everybody. There's very few surprises when they cut things down. But there was one major surprise I wanted to talk about. Okay? Do you know who Britton Colquitt is on the Browns?
Yeah.
Okay, who's Britton Colquitt? Tell them.
Is that the punter?
That is the punter. Last year, he was the Pro Bowl alternate. Meaning there was a Pro Bowler and a backup, and then in case the backup didn't go, there was an alternate. So technically he was the third best punter in the NFL last year. This year, in spring training, all he did was come in and kick the ball like he always does. He is like a machine. He basically punts exactly the same. They cut Britton Colquitt. Do you know why they cut him?
No, I don't.
This is the dirty, dirty business of the NFL. Brian Colquitt, or Britton, is the son of another Colquitt who is a punter for...
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, he's the son of another punter, right? And his brother's a punter, and so he comes from a long line of technically sound NFL punters. This year, he was set to make...
That's kind of a weird family business.
Yeah, it is. This year, he was set to make $2.7 million. And they said, you know what? You've been a great punter for us. We really appreciate it, but we're going to bring in this new guy with long hair who's very handsome, and we'll see you on the other side. And Britton Colquitt's like, I only did literally everything you said for me to do. Then why in the hell did you cut him for? Ted Coley. He made $2.7 million. The guy that they signed was Jamie Gillian on a free agent contract, undrafted. How much are they paying the new punter? Now, you cannot say I don't know. You have to guess.
How much are they
paying the
new
new
I'll
punter?
say $500,000.
You're ruining all my skits today, Ted Coley.
Is that right?
$495,000.
Wow. See, and that was a total guess.
And so the Browns basically said, if you can punt as good as our old punter, you got the job because you will save us $2.2 million on the salary cap. Right? It doesn't matter that you've done a great job for us. It doesn't matter that you've never effed up once. It doesn't matter that you've been a great punter. We are cutting you on behalf of this guy who makes $495,000 and can punt as good as you in the preseason. Even if you don't punt as good as him last year, we saved $2.2 million so we can pay our wide receivers more money because at the end of the day, you're just a punter, right? Which is what, at the end of the day, it's a business, right, Ted?
That's right.
And so when I saw that story, I felt so bad for Britton Colquitt. Even though he knows the business of the NFL, it still sucks. And I think of my job, right, where I work. I think of your job where you work. And you make a living wage, but you don't make a good wage. You don't get ahead, right? Now, put in your mind what your wage is, right? And you do a good job, and every single day, Ted, you don't make mistakes. You double and triple check everything. Ted was known for not making mistakes, right? What would happen if you were making X, okay, and then they said, Ted, we're going to let you go. We appreciate all your hard work, but we're going to bring in somebody who makes... And I know about how much you make. We're gonna do some math right here. 1/5 of what you make to do your job. You would be furious, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
So in my head, even though it's a Browns punter and he's making $2.7 million, in my head, I think of my job or your job. I would still be furious.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm getting at? Because they're like, oh well, business is business. Well, that doesn't mean the business doesn't suck. You see what I'm getting at? And they're like, oh, it's the Browns and blah, 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 blah. But in my head, it seems like it's fundamentally not right. You know what I mean? We're not talking about surgeons. You know, how can we get the cheapest surgeon we can get? You know, at the end of the day, you would think there'd be at least a little bit of loyalty. I know there's a salary cap, but the Browns aren't hitting it. So for them to say, we're going to cut you based on salary cap concerns, it's like, well, you're under the cap. Yeah, but we can still save $2 million, right? It almost makes you want to root against the Browns and say, oh, maybe you shouldn't have cut the guy who didn't do literally anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm getting at? So
it'll be ironic if it comes down to like the punter, like
yeah, the punter drops the
season,
snap or something.
Or it gets blocked. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like, oh, are you glad you saved that $2 million? But they're like, we're making a business decision thinking this guy's going to be as good as the old guy. And saving the $2 million is going to go in the long run. Well, then you're not making a football decision. You're still taking an unproven quantity and replacing a proven quantity. Right? And I know the NFL is not like our business, but it would be like, you know, someone taking over for me. I'd be like, oh, you know what? You go ahead and you can take my job. You're not hurting my feelings. You take half the money. You know, you have fun. You know, I'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Well,
was he? No, he was making $2.7 million.
$2.7 million. He is one of the highest paid punters in the NFL.
That was my question.
Yeah. Because he was one of the highest paid punters in the NFL because for 10 years, he's a proven commodity. The Browns did the same thing with their kicker, too. They took their average kicker, who was making millions of dollars, and then they paid their fifth-round draft pick hundreds of thousands of dollars. So in their head, we say between the punter and the kicker, $3 to $4 million. And these guys are just as good. You don't know they're going to be just as good. What happens if you lose a game because they miss a field extra point? You see what I'm getting at? And it's like everything is a business, no matter what it is. Whether it's the Browns, your business, my business, right? Sometimes the cold, harsh realities are not fun, okay? And that's why I stopped talking about college, because even though it's like a business, the NFL is a business. It's the business of football, right? Which, now I'm going to contradict myself. Are you ready for me to contradict myself? Me and Ted Coley talked about this on the phone this week. Andrew Luck retired. Were you stunned?
Yes.
Now, that was a fast answer because I told him and he was really, really stunned.
Yeah.
Like, you had no idea. Like, you thought I was joking around. You're like, isn't he like 20-something?
Yeah.
And he's 29. And in the history of the NFL, nobody has ever come off a Pro Bowl season under 30 as a quarterback and then retired. Right? Now, Ted
I know he wasn't a quarterback. And the first guy I mentioned was Jim Brown.
Yeah, and Ted...
But another question I had was, how old was Barry Sanders when he retired?
Oh, 31.
31?
Yeah, but Ted, he screwed that up too, because when I told him, I said, it's the only time it's ever happened with a quarterback, and Ted goes, oh, well, Jim Brown did it. Jim Brown was one of two position players who did it that wasn't a quarterback. You see what I'm saying? So you were right, and I didn't even get to he already threw the monkey wrench in. He's like, well, Jim Brown, he had the Pro Bowl seasons and retired. Now, Jim Brown said he was feeling beat up, but Jim Brown... There's a drum beating somewhere, okay, and he hears it and we don't. He is totally hearing a totally different drum. He's like, I did what I could on the playing field. I want to go to Hollywood. I want to be an actor. I want to be Wesley Snipes, Vin Diesel, Sylvester Stallone, you name them. That's what Jim Brown wanted to be, the first action hero, right? And he kind of was. He was a Magnificent Seven. He was in a couple other ones, but I'm drawing a blank. But the point is, he wanted to make more money than playing for the Browns and not be hit.
Yeah.
And he was dating models. He was dating actresses. He was dating the most beautiful women in California, and then tossing them off balconies into the yard, which you know about that, correct? You knew he threw that girl off the balcony,
well,
right?
I didn't know what specific things he'd done, but I knew
Jim Brown is a bad man. We'll talk about it off air. But so he is dating the most beautiful women because his motivation towards the end was he's like, well, I'm done with football. I ran all I could, and I did my thing, and now it's time for my next chapter, right? And at the end of the day, for Jim Brown, it was the business of football. Now, Art Modell, by him being a cheapskate and not treating them well, that all kind of tied in. But Andrew Luck retired at 29. I'm getting off topic. He retired at 29, and he said that the lingering injuries just took their toll. And Ted goes... He goes, lingering injuries? What are you talking about? I thought, wasn't he on the field for the preseason games? And he was. He goes, well, I had a high ankle sprain. High ankle sprain is not a broken back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can recover from a high ankle sprain with a fair amount of rehab. I mean, it sucks. I've had a high ankle sprain, but it's not something that kills your career. Uh-oh. I think that's thunder. Either that or God is angry, right? But anyhow, Andrew Luck, he retired, and basically he said it was the high ankle sprain. Well, it's not the high ankle sprain. It was the 20 other injuries. High ankle sprain was the death by 1,000 cuts. That's cut number 1,000. So, but Andrew Luck, and this is where I want to get your opinion, because I think me and you differ. Andrew Luck told the owner, I'm going to retire before the game, right? And then he went out and he sat on the sidelines in his uniform while the Colts were playing. Now, he wasn't going to play anyhow because it was an exhibition game, right? So he's sitting there with his hands, you know how they hold their jerseys and they're, you know, and then all of a sudden people start to boo. And he's getting ready to leave. He's like, "Oh, who they booing at?" Right? And then as he's leaving, he's like, "They're booing me. Oh, why are they booing me? Why in the world would someone boo me? I'm Andrew Luck. I'm awesome. You see what I'm saying?
I'm a great guy.
I'm a great guy. Well, this is coming out of nowhere, right? This is stunning." And so to me, his reaction is stunning because what had happened is he told, you know, the owner or the GM, I'm going to retire. And then, you know, the secretary or somebody heard it in the hallway. And next thing you know, the announcers hear it. And next thing you know, it's the worst kept secret in the world. It's tearing through social media. And Andrew Luck, they said he owned a flip phone, right? Which is funny because, you know, you own a flip phone. And he doesn't.
Is it a track phone?
So he doesn't know what's going on. He's not even looking at his phone because you know he's sitting here.
No, he really. That's what he has is a flip phone.
Yeah, he has a flip phone.
He doesn't have like a smartphone.
No.
That's awesome.
And so he's looking around, and people are like,
I'm just picturing him going to Walmart and buying the cards.
Yeah. But I guess they went back and they said during the game people were hearing the rumor and they were literally taking off the Andrew Luck jerseys in disgust. And like he's sitting there, he doesn't know what's buzzing around and 80,000 or 70,000 people all around him, right? He's oblivious. He's like, oh, you know, that was a nice first down toss. He has no idea the shitstorm that he's walking into, right? So he runs off the field. They're booing him, and he's like, "Oh, they can't be booing me!" Right? And then he gets to the press conference. He goes, "I know it was a bad secret, but I didn't know it tore through." And they said, "Did it hurt that they were booing you?" And he goes, "Honestly, yeah, I heard them. I heard them booing me, and yes, it hurt." Okay? Now, this is where me and you differ. Okay? Because if I was there, let's say I had my phone because I have some capabilities, and it's halftime, and I'm like, you know what? I was looking, and Indianapolis is behind the New England Patriots. Was the second favorite to go to the Super Bowl this year. It was the Patriots and the Colts.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, because Andrew Luck's healthy, right? So if I'm like, oh, you know what? Oh, okay, ESPN. I got my ESPN app. You know, touching, oh no, I don't want to talk to Siri right now. No, go off. No, I don't want to ask you about, no, don't do that. Oh no, see now this skit's not working. See, my timing's way off. This skit's not working either. So I look at my phone and it's halftime of the Colts game. And I'm like, oh, look. Oh, breaking news. Andrew Luck retired. Andrew Luck retiring! He's right there! What the hell do you mean he's retiring? This better be effing wrong! And then you go to the next one. Andrew Luck retiring. Andrew Luck retiring. Oh, you gotta be kidding me! They're going to the Super Bowl! He's right there, sitting there like a big dumbass! God damn it, you better not retire! We're going to the Super Bowl! And then you know what happened? When I see him run by, boo! Boo, you suck! Because they paid him over $100 million, and he's right there.
Who is taking his place? Who's their backup quarterback?
Last year, they traded with the New England Patriots and some guy. It was like the New England Patriots' third-string quarterback. I don't even know his name. And the coach of the Colts, Frank Reich, said, well, no big deal. You know, next man up. We're still favorites for the Super Bowl. Vegas dropped them from like 12-1 odds to 70-1 odds overnight, right? They put them from the top all the way down to like the bottom third. And everybody's freaking out. And again, he has the right to do it. I'm just saying, if you love a team and you spend literally tens of thousands of dollars, I could see why they would be angry. Now, Ted would not spend tens of thousands of dollars for a ticket. But could you understand why the fans were mad?
Oh yeah.
And because you thought you had a winner. You got season tickets. We're going to the Super Bowl. We're doing this. Say Andrew Luck retired at the end of last year. He retired in January. He says, you know what? I'm just broken down. I ain't playing. You have the option to say, I'm not buying season tickets. Andrew Luck is quitting. We're going to suck for the next 5 years. And that's going to tie into our next contract about sucking for the next 5 years. Okay? But that guy who was booing, and it would be me, because if I spent that kind of money and then he retired like right before the first game, I would be pissed.
Mm-hmm.
And all these announcers are like, well, he's doing it for his health. Well, then he should have did it in January.
Mm-hmm.
You did not get any healthier from January until the first day. There was no catastrophic injury from the time you purchased your season tickets to the time, so I'm not booing because I think Andrew Luck is a child killer or anything. I'm booing as a business decision. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So again, back to the NFL as a cold, hard business. Now, Ted Coley, how much would you pay to go to a Browns game? Honestly.
Not a lot.
So anything. Let's
I would just rather, believe it or not, watch it on TV.
But say Ted, Ted, I want to go to a football game. You gotta go with me. And you're like, how much are tickets? Okay, I really don't want to go because you're my friend. I will go. What is the cap that you would probably spend? Say it was me, or somebody you like more than me.
Maybe 50.
Okay, they ain't getting us nowhere.
Well, what would you be willing to pay?
Oh, 20. No offense to you. Listen, we're going to change topics. Make sure we get back to the NFL, okay?
20. Is there, what's the cheapest seat?
Oh, it's like 65.
Yeah.
So neither one of us are going, okay? But there's no $20 seats. And if there's $50 seats, they're behind the end zone on the top row in, section 500. You know what I mean? But my daughter went to go see, I think it was Panic at the Disco is the name of the band. And the price of the tickets was something like Eagles level. It was like $150, right? And in my philosophy is, it's like, if you have to pay more than $20 to see a band, I'm not going to see that band. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Luckily, I love a lot of bands that can only sell $10 tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And the bands that I want to see, like when I saw the Red Hot Chili Peppers, I think it cost me $8 in 1989. Now, I've already seen the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I don't want to see them again. There's very few bands that I would pay over $20 for. I think they're all going to die next week, so I got to see them before they die. But, Tool is coming, and I love Tool. And I'm like, I'm not even looking at ticket prices because I'm not going. You know what I mean? So, but that's a bad analogy because I like a lot of obscure bands. You know what I mean? So you would not pay over 50 for Browns.
No, and now that I think of it, I probably wouldn't even pay that.
You're already changing your answer. I say $20 and then you change your answer. Thanks, Ted. Next time I'll give you something else. And that's the whole thing. At the end of the day, it's a business. Some people love the Browns and they're going to pay any amount of money. But when they went 0-16, that just wasn't right. You know what I mean? They were trying to tank. They were trying to clear the deck. And they came to the people and they're like, oh, no, we might not be good, but don't worry. We're not going to raise our prices. It's like, but they're still $100 a ticket. Well, don't worry, we're not going to raise it. This year, they're going to be good. They jammed, all the prices went way up, right? Because, again, they're trying to pull the wool before your eyes. They're like, oh, we won't raise ticket prices. Yeah, but you're going to suck. When they went 0-16, I think Vegas had the over-under at 3, meaning they were predicted on going 3-13.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't magically suck, okay? Now, some people do love the Browns. They pass it on to their kids. I watched a game with my kids. He watches it with their kids. And one of my friends from high school, he does the same thing. He used to go with his grandpa, and then his grandpa died, and then the dad got the tickets, and then he got the tickets. And when the Browns went 0-16, he went on the internet and he went crazy. He's like, "God damn Browns, I should sell my ticket, but it's a 40-year investment, blah, blah, blah." Right? And so hopefully this year he's happy, but at the end of the day, you have to make business decisions. Ted, do you have $5,000 worth of disposable income? No. So you ain't going to Browns games. Same thing with me. Say I want
Now,
to.
did you said that your kids are not interested in the
Zero.
Browns at all?
Nope.
They're still not,
Nope.
right?
Nope.
Even though
Nope.
all this hype,
Nope. I told my son, if you want, I'll call him down. I said, "Listen, I know the Browns have sucked for the last 5 years, but they're supposed to be good. Are you interested in the Browns?" He's like, "No." It didn't even leave my mouth. He's like, "No. Why'd I watch the Browns? They suck." No, they're going to be good this year. No, because it is too late. You know what I mean? They sucked right through the time that my son should have been falling in love with them, right? And they lost a whole generation of fans. And you know who's watching the Browns? People our age, because we're still thinking about the 80s. You know what I mean? The Browns will be good again. The Browns will be good again. And you're like, "Oh, Fred, they're going to be good again." And we'll watch them on TV.
See, the thing is, I almost wonder if that's the real problem, that they sucked. I think that kids are just interested in other things now.
I agree.
I mean, I don't think it's that didn't help, I'm sure, but I don't think that's the main reason.
In my head, okay, this is what I'm thinking. Back when we were kids, everybody loved the NFL, right? Would you say that's fair? All your friends all love football.
Yeah.
All my friends love football, right? And back then, let's say that 80% of the kids love football, right? Just boys. We won't use girls. We'll use boys. 80% of the boys love football. 80% of the I almost said 80% at your school, 80% at my school. Well, it's the same thing, right? So say 80% of the boys love football, right? Now, this generation, I think in Cleveland, maybe 20% of the boys love Cleveland, whereas in New England, it's like 60% of the boys love football. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because they win every year. I think kids today, like, if your team is bad, they exponentially do not like your product. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you're a winner, they're like, "Oh, you're still getting a lot of boys in New England who are like, I love the Patriots because they won. I think the Browns lost more fans than most NFL teams. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And we'll use my son as an example. Don't your friends like the Browns? Why would they like the Browns? I'm like, do you know anybody who likes the Browns? He's like, "You do?" I'm like, "No, kids. What kids like the Browns?" If I called him down right now because he hears us talking about him, I say, "Do any of your friends like the Browns?" I can 99% sure he would say none of them. Now, could you imagine when you were a kid, you going, "I don't know anybody who likes the Browns."
No.
It's to me and you, that's unfathomable. There were kids who were like burnouts.
How old is your son?
13.
13.
And that's in the wheelhouse, 10 to 13.
Yeah. Oh,
10 to 13. I love the hometown team.
I'm trying to think how old I was when I first started really paying attention to football. I was probably about 10.
I can tell you exactly when it was. It was 11. And you know why? Because when I was 11 was Cardiac Kids.
I'm trying to think. The first Super Bowl I remember watching was Minnesota and Oakland.
Okay.
So that was January of '77. So I was what, 9 years old?
Yeah. And the same thing with me. Not exact same, but same ballpark. I'm 11. I remember Cardiac Kids. I remember Super Bowl Steelers-Rams. I remember listening to it on the radio because I thought football was the coolest thing ever. That would be 1979, Steelers-Rams, right?
Yeah, it was like January of '80.
Yeah. So at the time I was 10 years old. So right in that wheelhouse is when you're like, what team do I like?
Yep.
Now, I remember watching games with my dad when I was like 5 or 6, but I know what was going on. There's a football game, and look, they're playing football. But I didn't know up from down. I really remember like knowing what was going on for Super Bowl in 1979. And that's why Alex is the lost generation. And you're right. There's a bunch of Alexes in New England too. I'm just saying your business model going forward, you cannot have 10 years of sucking or 15 years of sucking. Everybody has down years, up years. We'll go back to the Colts example. The Colts went to the AFC Championship game 3 years in a row, right? And then Andrew Luck was injured, and then he missed the championship game, or he was out of the playoffs for 3 years, and then last year he came back. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I think so.
So even if it's not exactly right, they did not suck for 10 years, right? They had. So I think of kids in Indianapolis, they love the Colts, but you're right, they did not love the Colts like the last generation did. And I would argue that the NFL is the most popular sport. Baseball, they said, I read on ESPN, they said the kids don't even watch baseball. They said, who's your favorite? They asked kids, who's your favorite athlete? They're just randomly, who's your favorite athlete? Say you're a kid. I love LeBron, right? I love Tom Brady. They said no baseball athlete was in the top 50. The kids could name. Not me and you, kids. Like kids, and you know why? They say baseball's boring, right?
Yeah.
And so, I say, kids, you want to go to a minor league game? They don't want
Yeah,
to go.
it seems like most of the people who pay attention to baseball are older.
Yeah. So football skewers older in Cleveland, but in a lot of places, baseball skewers older all across the country. Kids are just like, baseball's boring.
I would imagine out of the three major sports, basketball probably has like the youngest.
Yeah,
audience.
because it's all about the flash, it's all about the slam dunk,
Yeah.
the three-pointer, and it's all about marketing and branding, right? Which, again, marketing and branding, does that say how good of a three-point shooter you are? No, it doesn't. You see what I'm getting at? And so part of the reason we're talking about the Browns are supposed to be good, right? And we made predictions, right? Whether they're good or not,
Did we actually?
I think we did.
Yeah, I think we
did.
did.
So, but I want to talk about the NFL, but don't let me forget because we have at least one prediction that we have to see came true. Dolphins. This is another thing about the NBA. One of the things that people don't like about the NBA is teams tank so they can get the best player. Right? Yesterday, the Miami Dolphins traded all their best players, right, for a first-round draft pick, a first-round draft pick, a first-round draft pick, a second-round draft pick, and a fifth-round draft pick. I believe it was 5 draft picks, but 3 of them were in the first round.
For next year?
For the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Ted Coley, this is not the NBA. Your favorite team used to be the Miami Dolphins. I know it's not anymore, but it's a good example. You remember when the Browns, they were 6-10 and they traded away all their best players before they went 0-16. Because they're like, we want to build something. If you were a Dolphins fan, would you be pissed today that they traded away their best players?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they traded away the day before the first game. You have season tickets, and now you get to see your favorite guys go to the Texans and wherever the hell else they went. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand not the economics of it, but you're projecting out hoping to get a great player so you can be good in 3 or 4 years. Well, in that case, I should be able to turn in my season tickets. You see what I'm getting at? Everything is slanted one way. How do we get your money? Right? I remember when LeBron left the first time that the Cleveland fan, because one of my uncles had Cavs tickets. And LeBron said, I'm going to make the decision and have it on ESPN on X day, whatever a day it was. Dan Gilbert goes, oh, no. You don't get to wait to the decision. I need my season ticket money or else you lose. And so everybody bought season tickets thinking, well, of course LeBron's going to come back. And then he didn't come. And then you could get tickets for $10 at the door. You see what I'm getting at? So this whole business thing, you have to have some sort of cognizance that the people in the stands that are booing Andrew Luck are your customers. And Andrew Luck, as hurt as he did not understand those are the people paying your salary.
Yeah.
Right? They're not some abstract angry mob. Well, no, I'm serious.
Yeah.
You know, Andrew Luck, these random people are booing me.
Yeah.
No, the people who pay your salary are booing you. They're mad. I'm sorry, we're running out of time because I want to make sure my kids get food and get dinner. So I want to see predictions real quick. All right. Dun, 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 dun. What month are we in? We are in September, but I think I put it in August. Dun, dun, dun. October, November. Where's August? God damn it. August, September. Oh, look, August 15th on my birthday. Happy 50th birthday to me. You want to, just since nobody watches this anyhow, Ted, you want to know what I had for my birthday?
What do you mean? What you got?
Yeah, what I got. You know what I got?
Hearing aids?
I got hearing aids, and I got a nice iTunes card, and I got panic attacks at work. Isn't that awesome? 3 weeks ago, me and you had a lot of fun on Beacon of Speech. Making fun of the Garfield cat lady who lived a couple of blocks away from Ted Coley.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you remember the Garfield cat lady, Ted Coley?
Yeah.
Garfield cat lady, they're getting ready to throw her in jail, and she's like, no, please don't throw me in jail. Judge says, you're going to jail. You were a menace, right? And a second judge came to the rescue, reclused the first judge, and they had a second trial, and she went to trial, and the judge said, no jail for the Garfield cat lady. Now, he also reviewed the first case and said, listen, Garfield cat lady, you know why you got jail time? Because every time we told you stuff, you ignored us, thinking that we wouldn't do anything. We weren't going to put you in jail. And then the first judge got mad and said, I'm going to put you in jail. In my head, it is an absurdity that we would put you in jail over feeding cats. So you are getting probation. But I'm going to sign this order. The next time that the cops come to your house because you're feeding cats, you're going to jail. And she goes, I'll never feed cats again. Thank you, Judge. Thank you for having mercy. And then he's like, I've heard this before. I'm being serious. I'm giving this to the bailiff. Garfield cat lady, you're going to go to jail if you keep feeding those cats. So me and Ted predicted, would the Garfield cat lady go to jail? As of now, she is sitting at home, not feeding cats. Fred said, no, the Garfield cat lady would not go to jail. Cooler heads would prevail. Ted Coley said, no. And you said ditto. That was your exact word. You said there's no way that they're sending the cat lady to jail. Right? Now, we're going to end on this note, okay, because my timing's off. I'm getting a little feedback in this ear, and we'll tie it up here, and then we'll go move forward. Everything in America is the Garfield cat lady, right? You do what I say, or else you're going to jail, right? You do what I say, or else you're fired. You do what I say, or else you don't get... You see what I'm saying? The Garfield cat lady played on people having common sense. And eventually somebody had common sense, but it took a long time from the first time the cops cited her until the time the second judge was ready to put her in the Cuyahoga County prison where people like die every 3 weeks, right? They do. Yeah. It's a big controversy. Common sense in America rarely prevails today. Would you say that's fair?
Mm-hmm.
And whether we're talking about high school ball or college football or pro football, using Andrew Luck as the example, people just don't have common sense anymore. And they don't understand, like, what is going on around them. You know what I mean? And like I said, at my work, I have had a real tough time because I get told 3 different things and pulled 3 different ways. I'm like, listen, just tell me what you want. Tell me what you want. Common sense should prevail. It doesn't prevail. At your job, weren't we just talking about common sense prevailing 2 or 3 days ago? How many times do we say common sense does not prevail in this country? Ted, we must have this conversation, would you say maybe 100 times in our lives?
Oh, yeah.
And you would think that common sense would start to prevail, like the tide would start turning. But no, it's the exact opposite. It's like people have less common sense now than when we were watching the Browns back in the day. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying the good old days are better. I'm just saying that the new era of whatever we're doing in America, there's less common sense than there used to be.
One prediction we should make
Let's get some paper. Predictions. There's room on here.
Do you think this lady will continue to keep her promise and not feed cats?
Oh, no. She's going to feed the cats. It won't be today or tomorrow. But if we make the prediction, what I'm afraid of is if we make the prediction about the Garfield cat lady, do you think we'll remember her in a year?
Probably not.
We'll be very specific, and then we'll end this show. Let's go August 15th of 2020. August 15th of 2020. And then we'll put, will Garfield cat lady be in jail? And I'm going to say yes.
Will Garfield cat lady fall off the wagon?
Be in jail. And I'm going to put yes, absolutely, because she says she learns her lesson. And what's going to happen is in 6 months, she's going to see a cute cat that's emancipated.
Yeah.
And it smells urine from 6 months ago by her house. It's going to show up. And, you know what? No, I take that back. Will she be in jail? I'm taking it back. I'm rethinking this. I'm rethinking this on the fly. Fred says no. What she's going to do is, and I'm going to put Ted under here. Will Garfield cat lady be in jail? I'll put no. She's going to be dead. Okay, because what she's going to do is she's going to be so afraid of the cops. She's going to see a cute cat. She's going to smell something from 6 months ago, right? And she's going to be like, oh, Tom, because she's probably got nicknames for them all. Tom from like Tom and Jerry. Tom, come on in. And she's going to bring the cat in the house, okay? And then once the smell starts to get the cat smell, more cats will come around. I can't feed you outside, but I can bring you inside, and you can be an inside cat. Now imagine your house, because you live in Garfield. Your house is 70 years old, is that correct?
Yeah.
Mine's 50, yours is 70, okay? What'll happen is she'll keep bringing them in. She'll have 30, 40, 50, 60 cats. She'll have 60 cats. One day she'll have a heart attack from taking care of 60 cats. Cats will eat her in the ultimate irony. She will feed the cat. She will be the cat Christ. Okay? The body of the woman will be... You've heard of people being consumed by their animals before, right? No. Garfield cat lady will be dead and will be eaten by her own cats. Cat lady dead. Eaten by cats.
I have an even better prediction.
We'll be there in 1 second. Eaten by own cats. And again, those cat ladies, they, sometimes they live forever, but sometimes they get eaten by their cats once the cats turn. Because it's expensive to feed 30, 40, 50, 60 cats, and it's hard to change kitty litter for 40, 50, 60 cats.
And also because no good deed goes unpunished.
No good deed goes unpunished. Okay, Garfield cat lady will be in jail. We'll put question mark. Fred says no. Ted says...
I say that she's going to start feeding cats again, and they're going to try to throw her in jail, but she's going to appeal it to the Supreme Court.
No, due to Supreme Court. Oh, I like that one. Due to Supreme
I
Court
mean, is it even
appeals.
possible that
Oh, yeah.
that could go to the Supreme Court?
Yeah, because
That would be awesome.
the judge that took her case, or not the judge, the lawyer who took her case, I believe, did it pro bono because he said no old lady deserves to be in a Cuyahoga County prison. You see what I'm saying? And the judge stepped in because he goes, I know what the letter law is, but common sense has to prevail. So if you get somebody, and let's just say the ACLU, or not the ACLU, what's not the ACLU is the union. What's the Animal Protection League? APL, right? PETA. I'm thinking of PETA. Animal Protection League's normal. PETA's whacked out. PETA's like, we're going to take it to the Supreme Court. It's not fair that you want these cats to starve. We will fight all the way to the Supreme Court. So she might not fight to the Supreme Court, but PETA would fight to the Supreme Court. And then their angle is, even if we lose, we just got millions in free publicity. You see where I'm going with that? So due to Supreme Court appeals, we'll say the PETA example, and then we're going to put it right back in the prediction thing, and then we'll go from there. So hopefully we are back on the wagon. Fred Hunt with his hearing aids. He's as jazzed as ever. Hopefully work turns around and we are somewhere soon. Ted Coley is my partner in crime. Right now he says that I'm his partner. As soon as I write something wrong, he does not know who I am. Even with that knowledge, I still thank Ted Coley publicly for everything he does for Beacon of Speech. Ted Coley, thank you for everything. I'm Fred Hunt. That's Ted Coley. You guys have a great night.